can I say except you're welcome?
At 14, he saw his mother crying on the side of the road after they were evicted from their rental home, and at 15, he watched her step into traffic ready to end it all. A childhood like that could have broken anyone, but not Dwayne Johnson. For him, those tragedies became fuel, the very fire that pushed him forward, and just 10 years later, that determination paid off. He became The Rock, a global symbol of strength and one of Hollywood's highest-paid action stars. His net worth today stands at $1.19 billion, yet the most valuable thing Dwayne Johnson has ever owned isn't a $30 million mansion or a fleet of million-dollar supercars. It's the gift he gave his mother after he made it the chance to finally live without fear or struggle, even at the height of his fame. With wealth few could imagine, The Rock still battles an old fear, the haunting sense that his difficult past could come back at any moment. Why does he carry that fear? What lies beneath the success? Join us as we uncover the journey of Dwayne Johnson and the deeper truths behind everything he's built. He grew up in cramped rental apartments, moving from place to place, watching his mother's tearful eyes the day they were evicted from yet another home. But out of those years of hardship came a quiet determination, one stronger than any success that would follow. Born on May 2, 1972, in Hayward, California, Dwayne was raised in a multicultural family with Samoan and Canadian roots. His father, Rocky Johnson, was one of the first black wrestlers to find success in America, but the spotlight of the ring didn't reflect the struggles outside it. His mother, Adamaivia, came from a proud Samoan wrestling dynasty, but she still had to fight through poverty to raise her son. The family moved constantly from California to Hawaii chasing wrestling circuits. They lived in rundown rentals, sometimes with nothing more than a mattress on a concrete floor. Can a boy still dream big when the refrigerator is empty? The breaking point came when Dwayne was just 14. His family was evicted from their apartment in Honolulu after falling behind on rent. He stood silently as his mother cried on the sidewalk, no anger, no complaints, just a quiet pain etched into his memory. From that moment on, he made a vow his mother would never cry from poverty again. At school, Dwayne was mocked for his torn, hand-me-down clothes, but he didn't crumble. Instead, he built his strength and resolve through football, dreaming of making it to the NFL as a way out. While Michael Jordan was dazzling the world on the basketball court, Dwayne had nothing but a dream and two bare hands. But was football truly the path meant for him? From his father, he learned discipline and perseverance. From his mother, he absorbed gratitude and sacrifice. Armed with those lessons, the boy who once slept on the floor stepped into adulthood, ready to face the world head-on. And what happened next is something you won't want to miss. Have you ever imagined a young man once called a failure going on to make the whole world cheer? That was the humble beginning of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. No spotlight, no fame, just a tiny wrestling ring and $40 per match. After graduating from the University of Miami on a football scholarship, Dwayne stood inches from an NFL dream. He could have been a tough, dependable defensive player, but a lingering back injury and fierce competition wiped that chance away. One morning, he got the call he'd been cut. No team wanted to sign him. Just like that, the dream collapsed. He returned home with only $7 in his pocket. Was this the end for a young man full of ambition? Failure hung heavy, but Dwayne didn't run from it. He turned back to wrestling, the very thing that once kept his family afloat. In 1996, under the name Rocky Maivia, he stepped into the WWE ring, but the audience didn't welcome him. They mocked the name, criticized his style, and called him a privileged failure. One night, after being booed out of the arena, Dwayne sat alone in a rundown hotel, questioning if he should walk away. But then, he remembered his mother crying on that sidewalk years ago, and that memory pushed him forward. Could he turn the boos into cheers? He didn't quit, he transformed. He left Rocky Maivia behind and became The Rock, bold, funny, razor-sharp, with a charisma that couldn't be ignored. That wit and presence would later carry him to Hollywood, where he'd build a media empire with over 395 million followers on Instagram. While Hulk Hogan had long been a household name, Dwayne had to claw his way from nothing, turning every match into a chance to prove himself. And just a few years later, he became WWE's most beloved star. From $40 a match, he moved on to million-dollar contracts, eventually earning $5 million per year, a record-breaking figure in pro wrestling. With 8 WWE championships under his belt, The Rock was no longer just a wrestler. He was a global icon, gracing magazine covers and major endorsements. The generosity he learned from his mother began to shine through. He bought her a house in Miami, along with a Cadillac Escalade, keeping the promise he made when he was 14. But the ring wasn't the end of the road. Hollywood was calling, and a dazzling, luxurious new world was waiting just around the corner. From wrestling icon to Hollywood heavyweight, Dwayne Johnson entered the movie industry under a cloud of doubt, but in just over a decade, he overturned all expectations, becoming one of the most bankable and highest-paid actors in the world. It began with The Mummy Returns and The Scorpion King, then grew into a string of blockbusters like Fast and Furious, Jumanji, San Andreas, and Moana. Producers weren't just paying for Dwayne's name, they were paying for reliability. Red Notice earned him $23.5 million for Red One. His paycheck reached $50 million, the highest ever for a leading role. To date, the global box office revenue from films starring Dwayne Johnson has surpassed $12.5 billion. He isn't just a star, he's a global brand, spanning film, advertising, media, and production. His estimated net worth now sits at around $350 million. But what matters more than the number is how he's used it. He repaid his mother with a home, launched his own company, invested in his personal brand, and kept the promise he made as a 14-year-old standing beside her on the street. That promise marked the beginning of a new life, one of luxury, privacy, and quiet respect from even the boldest names in Hollywood. High in the hills of Beverly Hills, a set of heavy wooden gates opens slowly each morning. Behind them stands Dwayne Johnson's $27.8 million estate, a tranquil world hidden from the buzz below. A stone-paved driveway winds through olive groves toward a Mediterranean-style villa. Each window looks out over the San Fernando Valley. Inside, a soaring living room with a marble fireplace and a grand piano sits near a wall of glass. Below, a wine cellar holds hundreds of bottles collected from his travels around the world. But Dwayne's favorite spot is the infinity pool in the backyard, where he often sits in silence at sunset, watching the orange sky ripple across the water. For him, the home isn't for show, it's for breathing. Thousands of miles away, in the countryside of Georgia, Dwayne owns a very different space, a $9.5 million ranch spread across more than 40 acres. The main house, built from local stone, has a classic farmhouse design with a long porch overlooking open fields. There's a horse stable, riding arena, fishing pond, and a seasonal vegetable garden, more family retreat than million-dollar property. He often brings his daughters here on weekends, away from the spotlight. It's where he teaches his youngest how to ride a horse, prepares meals by hand, and tells stories about the days when his father didn't even have a proper roof over their heads. The Georgia ranch isn't an investment, it's a sanctuary. In Miami, where he once played college football, Dwayne bought a $3.5 million beachfront villa. Sunlight floods the space, with light wood floors, high Spanish-style ceilings, and a private path leading to the shore. Every morning at 4, he trains in a home gym that faces the ocean. The only sounds are waves and soft music from the ceiling speakers. This is his quiet command center, where business strategy meets peace before he returns to the film set. But the most meaningful home of all is the $3.8 million house he gave his mother in Los Angeles. It's not the largest, but every detail carries love. There's a special room just for her collection of ukuleles, a nod to her childhood in Samoa. The kitchen follows a traditional Hawaiian design, evoking the flavors of family meals long past. On the rooftop terrace, a small garden blooms, where she tends to flowers with the same hands that once held her son as they lost their home. Dwayne rarely speaks about this house, but when he does, there's always a quiet pause, because to him, it isn't just a gift, it's a promise fulfilled. From Beverly Hills to Georgia, from Miami to Los Angeles, every home is more than a place to live. It's a milestone on his journey, a reminder that the man who once had no roof now builds homes for those he loves. Dwayne Johnson's garage isn't a showroom, it's an autobiography told through engines, where every car represents a chapter of transformation. The crown jewel is a Pagani Huayra worth over $2.55 million, a handcrafted Italian masterpiece, with only a few hundred ever made. Dwayne had his customized with carbon fiber interiors, python pattern leather, and a re-engineered sound system to his own specs. He doesn't drive it daily, but every time those gull-wing doors rise, he's reminded of being a teenager staring at supercars in magazines, wondering, could that ever be me? Next comes the Ferrari LaFerrari, valued at $1.4 million, a personal reward he gave himself after his first 10 years in Hollywood. It's not just about horsepower, it's a symbol of how far he's come. Ironically, Dwayne can't fit comfortably in the driver's seat due to his large frame, so instead, the car sits under white lights at the center of the garage like a sculpture, a piece of art for days when motivation runs low. He also owns a McLaren P1, a hybrid speed machine, and his first major investment after launching his own production company. When you're standing on your own 2 feet, choose something that makes your heart race, he once wrote. The P1 symbolizes that leap from actor to producer. In terms of elegance, nothing beats the Rolls-Royce Wraith, a sleek black coupe with dark brown leather interiors. When meeting executives or attending major events, Dwayne often drives it himself. He once said, "This car doesn't have to prove anything, it just is, and that's enough." The Wraith doesn't roar, it glides quietly, like the calm confidence he's earned through decades of hard work. Amid all the million-dollar cars, he still keeps a custom Ford F-150, simple, bold, and deeply personal. It's his daily driver, featuring an extended cab, hand-stitched seats, and a dashboard built to his specs. For Dwayne, it's not about flash, it's about remembering where he started and staying grounded. And when crossing countries, Dwayne doesn't fly commercial. He flies in a Gulfstream G650, his private jet, valued at over $65 million, among the most luxurious aircraft in the world. The cabin is designed in executive-style smoked leather seats, walnut floors, adaptive lighting, and the ability to fly nearly 14,000 kilometers non-stop. It includes a mini kitchen for his private chef to prepare meals tailored to his strict regimen, a small meeting room with touchscreen displays, and a quiet sleep area with a full bed where he often rests before landing straight on set. But the real luxury isn't comfort, it's time. With the Gulfstream, he can finish a stunt in London and still be home in Los Angeles for dinner with his daughters. Like the man himself, the plane isn't about showing off, it's about making sure that no matter how demanding the career, family is always the final destination. Every vehicle carries a piece of his life, not for speed or status, but for memory, gratitude, and the promises he's kept. Dwayne Johnson's day begins at 4 a.m. inside Iron Paradise, his $300,000 mobile gym, custom-built and transported to every film location. No spotlight, just iron, music, and a man who never stops working on himself. He eats between 5 and 7 meals a day, consuming over 1,000 pounds of fish and 261 pounds of potatoes each year. Over the past decade, he spent more than $150,000 solely on meals to fuel his training. Every detail is measured not for appearance, but for endurance and discipline. Now and then, he rewards himself with a cheat meal, pancakes, or a favorite pizza. When he drinks, it's Terramana tequila, the brand he founded, now valued in the billions. Despite his schedule, he still finds time to write, play piano, and share his journey on social media. Not for marketing, but to motivate. Behind the muscles and millions, he lives like a soldier, disciplined, humble, and never forgetting the days when hunger was real. Through blockbusters, million-dollar contracts, and a schedule that spans continents, Dwayne Johnson holds to one unshakable truth: family comes first. He spent 10 years in his first marriage to Dani Garcia, not only his former wife, but also his longtime business partner and co-founder of 7 Bucks Productions. Their separation was amicable, and to this day, they remain close friends, a rarity in the world of entertainment. Their daughter, Simone Johnson, has followed in her father's footsteps, officially signing with WWE. Dwayne calls her the next generation of resilience. Later, he found peace with Lauren Hashin, a singer and music producer. They lived together for over a decade before quietly marrying in a private beach ceremony in Hawaii in 2019. No media, no press, just loved ones, sunset, and whispered vows. The couple has 2 daughters, Jasmine and Tiana, and if there's ever a time when Dwayne Johnson softens, it's when he's with them. On social media, he often shares candid moments braiding his daughter's hair before school, walking hand in hand through the garden, or being forced to play princess in their childhood games. "They're the reason I never back down," he once wrote. Whether in a multi-million-dollar villa or a film set across the globe, Dwayne sticks to simple routines, driving his kids to school each morning, having dinner with them each night. Even when travel demands a private jet, he always makes time to be there for birthdays, parent meetings, or just a quiet evening at home. Behind the spotlight and the roaring crowds, there is a very different Dwayne Johnson, quiet, loving, and happiest when he's just being a dad. Behind the bright lights of Hollywood, Dwayne Johnson has faced his share of doubt. In the early years of his acting career, many saw him as just a muscle man trying to act, lacking depth, sticking to safe roles. Films like Tooth Fairy even made him question himself. But instead of firing back, he quietly shifted course, from Moana to Pain and Gain. He slowly won over audiences, not with flashy performances, but with authenticity and strength from within. In 2017, tensions on the set of Fast and Furious made headlines, following a rumored clash with Vin Diesel. A few cryptic Instagram posts were enough to send the media into a frenzy, but Dwayne didn't engage. He simply stepped back from the main franchise and focused on building his own spin-off. No feuds, no public battles, just a deliberate, grounded decision. But the deeper wounds are the ones few ever see. At 15, Dwayne witnessed his mother attempt to take her own life. That pain followed him for years. He's battled depression, especially in the aftermath of injuries and personal setbacks. Yet instead of hiding it, he chose to speak out, reminding others that vulnerability is not weakness. It's part of becoming whole. He's used his platform to advocate for mental health investing in Zoa Energy, founding Papatui, and using social media not to boast but to uplift. No noise, no defenses. Dwayne Johnson has weathered the storms with grace and kindness, and it's exactly that quiet strength that makes him more trusted than ever before. On social media, one photo once quietly made its way around the internet. Dwayne Johnson, bending down to hand a small gift to a young boy battling a life-threatening illness. No stage lights, no press, just a real moment and pure Dwayne. For over 2 decades, Dwayne has been known not only for his action roles but for his generous heart. He was one of the first major actors to openly speak about depression, loss, and personal vulnerability, not for attention, but for connection. Nearly 400 million people follow him, not just for his physique or films, but because they see in him something deeper, a man of gratitude, with nothing to hide and nothing to pretend. He once donated $1 million to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, $2 million to the University of Miami, and has granted more than 20 wishes through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. But sometimes, it's the smaller gestures that speak the loudest, giving a truck to a friend from his struggling days, building a home for his mother, quietly helping veterans whose stories go unheard. Professionally, Dwayne is one of the most influential global stars of our time. He once topped the list as Hollywood's highest-paid actor in 2018, and today owns a diversified business empire, from his billion-dollar Terramana tequila brand to the XFL Football League he purchased for $15 million. But to him, none of that was ever the end goal. It was simply a means to give back, to show the world that success doesn't have to come at the cost of compassion. Dwayne Johnson's legacy isn't measured at the box office or in his net worth. It lives in the ripple effect, when a man who once had $7 in his pocket now inspires millions to rise after defeat. It shows in the eyes of his daughter when she calls him Daddy, not The Rock, and it's there. In the quiet way he continues to keep that promise he made to himself long ago, to never let his mother cry from hardship again. Unlike those who chase the spotlight, Dwayne Johnson uses his light to illuminate the path for others. His life is proof that you can start from nothing, from tears on a sidewalk, from bitter disappointment, and still write a story the whole world stops to hear. But what about you? Have you ever faced failure and refused to give up? Share your story below, because someone out there may need just one reason to keep going, and your voice might be the one that helps them find it.